don't know. I read the shloka in book for last time.
Oh. So then it's 80, yeah? So okay.
I think so. Do you remember the next verse?
Yes, this one.
80.
And that's no makes 80. You can just read that. You don't, there's no purpose here, but no.
No problem. Give seconds.
Yeah, B goes to the middle.
Tasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitanjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Tale Namaste Bhakti Vedanta Swami Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachati Chasarini Vanchakalpataruscha Kripasindhudevi Vacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura-Bhatta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 21, verse 80. Tade Krishna Sarva Brahma Gane Vidaya Lila Dandavad Anya Sade Nija Gare Gela Sade Krishna Sarva Brahma Gani Hidaya Dila Dandavad Anya Sade Nija Gare Gela
Sade Krishna Sarva Brahma Gani Hidaya Dila Dandavad Anya Sade Nija Gare Gela.
Okay, word by word. Tade. Thereafter. Krishna. Lord Krishna. Sarva Brahma Gane. Unto all the Brahmas. Vidaya Lila. Beg farewell. Dandavat Hanya. Offering obeisances. Sabe. All of them. Nijagare Gela. Return to their respective homes. Okay. Translation. Lord Krishna then bade farewell to all the Brahmas there, and after offering their obeisances, they all returned to their respective homes. Okay. Let's go repeat together. Lord Krishna then bade farewell. To all the Brahmas there. And after offering their obeisances, they all returned to their respective homes. Okay. The title of this chapter is The Opulence and Sweetness of Lord Krishna. Here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi the confidence of the devotional service process. Especially here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speak about the pastime of Lord Brahma, and when Lord Brahma was to Dwarka, and Brahma entered the Krishna's palace, and they multiplied many another Brahmas arising, and Lord Brahma stay astonished with the reality, yes. Like in the pastime of Brahma Mohan Lila, when Krishna stole the calves and cowboys, and after spending many cowboys and calves also. Yes, this is the opulence of Krishna. Even the measure of the Vedantis, the more intelligent person in the universe, Lord Brahma, cannot understand the Krishna's opulence. It is a very dangerous thing thinking that I know Krishna. This is completely Maya. This is a good verse and this is a good point. We can connect with presentation today. Next Friday is the Krishna Janmashtami, the Janma born, Asta, 8 days after the moon of Lord Balarama Jayanti. Krishna's arise, Krishna's make your appearance on this planet, Bhauma Lila. And I ask your mercy to speak about Lord Krishna. Shri Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mata sarvam pravartate, itmatva bhajante man, buddhabhava samamvittaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart. Okay? In this verse, the divinity of Krishna declared that he is the Supreme Person of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the source of all. Yes. Krishna is God. Arjuna Vacha Param Brahma Param Dharma Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purushan Shashatam Divyam Adideva Jam Vibhum Ahusvam Visha Sarve Devarshina Dastatha Asrita Devalovyasan Swayam Chevi Bhavishme. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Person of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verses 12 to 13. So, in the chapter Zok of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verses 8 to 11, Krishna declared, I am God, I am Supreme Person of Godhead. And this next verse, 12 and 13, Arjuna are totally enlightened, and he understands that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead. Yes. Firstly, Krishna himself declared this, and now, more important, your devotee declared this. Explain this truth for the whole world. Okay. Do you know Hanma Prashak Swami?
Yes.
Hanma Prashak Swami is a very, very special devotee in Prabhupada movement. He's a guru, he's from America. He studied psychology and he got the PhD in psychology, but he not are satisfied with this. He started to karate and he's a black belt in karate and not satisfied also. He make dramas, theater dramas, and not satisfied. One time he meeting with a devotee on the street, and the devotee sell a Krishna book for him, and he read Krishna book on this time he was married, and he read the Krishna book and he got a very, very interesting conclusion. I will show now to you. I know him in 2001 in Peru, in Lima, in Chosica Temple. Had a great festival of 25 years of Eastern Peru, and many devotees came. Kavichandra Maharaj came, Pradananda Swami came, Bhakteswara Damodar came, Japatak Maharaj, of course, because of GBC, came, many devotees came, and of course Hanuma Prashak Swami. Hanuma Prashak Swami is from the Bhaktivedanta Institute, together with Bhakteswara Damodar. They are friends, and Hanuma Prashak Swami invited the Bhakteswara Damodar. Okay. First, we need to understand the Blaise Pascal's bet. Pascal's argued that a rational person should live as though God exists and seek to believe in God. If God does not actually exist, such a person will have only a finite loss, some pleasures, luxury, etc. But whereas if God does exist, he stands to receive infinite gains as represented by eternity in heaven and avoid infinite losses, eternity in hell. Not good. Yes.
Who's Blaise Pascal?
Blaise Pascal was a mathematician and philosopher in the around the 6th century. Most famous. Logical mathematicians and philosophers.
It's called Pascal's wager, I think, if you look it up.
Yeah, have a connection with the beginning of the computers also, because the probability is losing. Look at this bet basically is based on probability. But when Hanuma Prashak Swami meeting with the devotee and read the Krishna book, he get a conclusion very, very close, very, very near. Once in Peru, Maharaj said that when the first read the Krishna book, he could conclude that the book was absolute. This Krishna book is absolute. It was either an absolute truth or an absolute lie. The higher a truth proposition is, the more difficult it is to verify. Yes? Not another religion, neither another scripture is plain about God like the Srimad Bhagavatam, like the Goswami's Vrindavanam, like Bhagavad Gita. Yes? And Bhagavatam have a very, very precise and deep details about God. Yes? Your name, your activities, your friends. Yes, very, very deep details. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Krishna book, is an absolute truth or a total absolute lie. Krishna, because this Krishna, it is disconcerting aspect. Krishna is limited and he have many aspects, but I will take one aspect very interesting for work on this explanation, that is the disconcerting aspect, how Krishna is disconcerting. But Krishna is disconcerting only for non-devotees.
What does it mean?
Desconcertante?
Unconcerning?
Not caring.
Indifferent.
No. When you try to understand anyone, but it's impossible to understand that people.
Inconceivable.
No. Inconceivable, I know this word. If Krishna is Aja, not born, how can he take a birth? This is concerning. Here Krishna appeared in the palace of the demon, I forget the name. Kamsa, yes, the uncle. The uncle, and here the Devaki in Vasudeva, in Krishna's baby. Krishna born in show your Chaturabhuja form, the form of Lord Narayana, to prove for the whole world that he is God. And after, by ask of Devaki and Vasudeva, with fear of cancer, he take the big form that he show only in this place. In the Loka Vrindavan, Krishna is eternal teenager, eternal Kishora. So in the same way, Tat Jatitan Jati, Tat Dure Tat Vantike, Tadantar Asya Sarvasya, Tadu Sarvasyasya Mahyataha. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. Upanishad verse 5, yes? How I can understand the people that is one thing and same time not is. This is concerning. Adokshaja, the people that is inconceivable to the material senses, conceivable by the akshaja to the eyes and another sense. Lord Brahma is a masterful play on words, very interesting, explore this aspect of Krishna. Advaitan Acharya, Advaita Achyuta Manadyanantarupam, Adyam Purana Purushan, Navayo Valancha, Vedeshu Dhulabha, Adulabha Atma Bhakto, Govinda Mad Purushan Dhammaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the Primable Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. Yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. This is Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu get only this chapter in the Sot, because this we have only this chapter 5 of the Brahma Samhita. In this verse, Lord Brahma demonstrates how paradoxical Krishna is beyond all logical understanding. Adokshana. Paradox, you understand? And my friend?
Yeah.
You know this word. Advaita, Achyuta, Anadi, Ananta Rupam. Advaita without duality. Achyuta infallible. Anadi without beginning. Ananta Rupam, with eternal form. Prabhupada comments the Brahma Samhita this line. Advaita means indivisible truth, who is knowledge absolute. Brahman, the infinite, emanates from him as his effulgence, and God emanate, Paramatma, as his constituent. But nevertheless, he remains one and indivisible. Achyuta means that though myriads of avatars emanate from him as subjective portions and millions of jivas as separated spiritual particles, still he remains intact as the undivided whole of fullest perfection. That is, he is infinite and undivided, but at the same time divides. Yes, he's indivisible, but he divides. How this happens? Advayam Purana Purushan Na Vayo Valancha. Prabhupada. Though he indulges in exhibiting the pastimes of birds, etc., still he is without a beginning. Though he disappears after the pastimes of his appearance, still he is eternal. He is born and unborn. He is born and disappears after, but he is eternal. Though without origin, yet he is with an origin in his pastime of appearance. And although eternal in essence, he is still a person in the full bloom of youth. All experience that we have in this world, not conceivable this, yes, because one thing is one thing, another thing is another thing. But Krishna can be the same, both things at the same time. Yes, for the mind, for the logic, this is impossible. Remember the first law of the Aristotle in the organum. One thing cannot be and not be at the same time. But Krishna can. This is concerning. He is the first person born, therefore the oldest. But even so, he is also the youngest. Vedeshu Dhulava Madhulava Atma Bhakto Prabhupada. So, the Vedas cannot present before us a direct view of the transcendental world, Goloka. It is only when the Vedas are imbued with the chief potence that they are enabled to deal with the transcendental. But Goloka reveals itself to every jiva soul when he is under the influence of the spiritual cognitive potence joined to the essence of ecstatic energy. It is very hard to know him through the greatest books of knowledge, like the Vedas, but it is very easy to know him by the devotion of the soul. Especially in Bhagavad Gita, in 2nd chapter, Krishna explains that the Vedas, the original Vedas, Sama, Atharva, Yajurveda, Rig Veda, these Vedas working with the three modes of the nature. Krishna recommended that you go by only of these three modes. But what is the characteristic of the Puranas? Yes. The characteristic of Puranas, especially Bhagavad Purana, is the speaker is very great devotees, great bhaktas, like Shukadeva Goswami, like Sutta Goswami, like Lord Shiva, like Lord Brahma, like Prahlad Maharaj. Yes, this is the treasure of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Krishna devotees are talking about Krishna, because the Srimad Bhagavatam is so special. Another book so special is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explained himself, or God explained about him. Because these scriptures are so transcendent and so special. Here is a very interesting also. The Supreme Person of Godhead is the ideal self-controller of our brahmachari. How Krishna can be a brahmachari if he is married with 6,000 wives? When Krishna was elected to be president of the Rajasuya Yagya performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, grandfather Bhishma Deva praised Lord Krishna as the greatest brahmachari. Why? Because grandfather Bhishma was a brahmachari, yes, a Nastik brahmachari. One Nastik brahmachari can recognize another real brahmachari, in this case of Bhishma Deva. He was quick fit to distinguish a brahmachari from a vyabhichari. Sense enjoy. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, verse 62, purported by Srila Prabhupada. This is a Brazilian comedian, and she's talk a lot of bad language, very, very exotic person. But she is dying now. She speaks. This one Krishna, in the Vedas, Dharma Shastras, he is told not to steal, and he steals. He is told to marry and not to be an adulterer, and he has this relationship with the goats. They even received his promise that he would come back, and he never returned to Vrindavan. A shameless liar. Yes, this is the mentality of the materialist persons about Krishna. It is notorious that when the first Christians, first Catholics go to India and read the Bhagavad Purana, they have had a total distortion mentality about this. Yes? Krishna is a god of sex and all this. But this is a very, very envious mentality about Krishna. Only if a person is a friend with Krishna, only if a person is a devotee of Krishna, can Krishna reveal your pastimes, your activities inside of your heart. But one that have invidious matsara of Lord Krishna, these people stay very far away of Krishna for little understanding of Krishna. In this way, Krishna is disconcerting for one person, and Krishna is very dear for another person. Yes, the universe is divided in suras and asuras. The suras have faith and can understand Krishna only for approach of him. But the asuras, because of the external potency of Krishna, stay very, very far away of Lord Krishna. In this way, Krishna is disconcerting for one, for the demons, but Krishna is very, very dear for your devotees. And this happens in a fair way, yes? Krishna is a person. Krishna keep the right to reveal only for your devotees. Devotees have a deep appreciation for Krishna. Oh, Krishna have 6,000 wives. Krishna need have much more, because this is supreme enjoyer. The devotee, the real devotee, want Krishna enjoy more and more and more. All pleasure is for Lord Krishna, it's my Lord. But the asura, sometimes have the asuras in devotees and saris, the asuras have invited videos of Krishna. Why Krishna can't do this? Why Krishna have this? Why I not have this? I want to be Krishna. Conclusion. In the transcendental realm, there is no past and future, but only the unavoided, and immutable present time. In the transcendental sphere, there is no distinction between the object and its qualities, and no such identity as is found in the limited mundane origin. Hence, those qualities that seem to be apparently contradictory in the light of mundane conception limited by the time and space, exist in agreeable and identical concordance in the spiritual realm. How can the jiva realize such unprecedented existence? The limited intellectual function of the jiva is always contaminated by the influence of time and space in this, therefore not in a position to shake off this limitedness. If the potence of cognitive function does not extend of the realization of the transcendental, what else can? It's possible our 16 rounds, our Mangala every day, our 4 principles conquer Krishna? No, no. But this is very, very important because this is the instructions from Acharya, yes? You surrender to Acharya, but this minimum effort can bring the great Krishna's merciful. Without the Krishna's merciful, it is impossible for us approach of him. We do a little tiny thing, follow the instructions of the acharyas, and Krishna give the incomparable, the big gift that is Krishna Prema Bhakti for the jivas. Another way is impossible approaching to Krishna. Jananta eva janantu kim bahutya name prabhu manaso vapushu vacho vaibhavantavagocharaha. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14. This is a very, very special chapter because it's the chapter after the Brahma Mohan's Lila. It's the chapter after Lord Brahma received the mercy of Krishna and he is enlightened. And these verses are so powerful, so imbued of bhakti, have a lot potency of bhakti, a lot for us understanding and approaching of Lord Shri Krishna. The first step, how Lord Chaitanya explains to Sanatana Goswami is, don't try to understand Krishna. Krishna is immensurable. It's impossible to understand Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati translates the word Maya, how the activity, how they try understand Krishna. If you try understand Krishna, you try understand God. This is Maya. Devoted approach of Krishna know that Krishna is inconceivable. Krishna is adulterer. But in this way, by the process given by the acharyas, the parampara, he try make end service. And if Krishna want to reveal, Krishna reveal. But if Krishna not reveal, I will keep it on this way, chanting Hare Krishna during the process. But this is too much important. We are Vibhuchit. We are very, very tiny, and Krishna is unlimited. Krishna have an eternal form. We have a material form now. We're born, and we will die. In this condition, how we can understand God? It's impossible. Only by mercy of Krishna, when Krishna reveals to us that we can understand a little of Krishna for the make advance in the platform of devotional service. Surishu, Rishu, Isha Tathaiva Nushapi, Tiyakshu, Yajushu Api, Janasya, Janman Satan Durmada Vigrahaya, Prabho Vidata Sat Anugrahayacha. O Lord, O Supreme Creator and Master, you have no material birth, yet to defeat the false pride of the faithless demons and show mercy to your saintly devotees, you take birth among the demigods, sages, human beings, animals, and even the aquatic beings. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 20. Okay, this verse answer the question in the beginning of this work. If Krishna is unborn, how how he take birth? Krishna is unlimited and Krishna can do anything. It's impossible to the mind understand, capture Lord Krishna and understand your activities. Okay, então this work have a connection with this chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu give the same advice to Sanatana Goswami. If you want the approach of Lord Krishna, approach of God, understand God is inconceivable. God can make anything. Is unlimited. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Shri Krishna Mahotsava ki jai. Krishna Prabhupada ki jai. It's early in verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and after we can open to comments. Okay. Text 21. Deki Chaturmukha Brahmana Haila Chamatkara Krishna Racharane Asi Kaila Namaskara. After observing all these opulences, the four-headed Brahma of this universe was astonished. He again came before the lotus feet of Krishna and offered him obeisances. No purport. Text 82. Brahma Bale Purve Ami Yenishaya Kailam Tara Udaharana Ami Ajita Dekilam. Brahma then said, whatever I formerly decided about my knowledge, I have just now had personally verified. No purport. 83. Jananta eva janantu kimba hutya. This is not the Bengali. Jananta eva janantu kimba hutya nanitravo manasu.
You had a presentation.
Sorry?
This verse was on your presentation.
No, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita.
It's this one.
Yeah. This is the verse of presentation. It's for test your very good. Manasova Pushu Macho by Bhavantava Gocharaha. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think in their way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, verse 14, 38, spoken by Lord Brahma. 8.4. Krishna kahe e brahmanda panchakshat kot yojana atikshudra tati tomara chari vadana. Krishna said, your particular universe has a diameter of 4 billion miles. This is the size of this universe. Very important information. Therefore, it is the smallest of all the universes. Consequently, you have only 4 heads, yes? Because these have Brahmas with 100 heads, 500 heads, 1,000 heads, depend of the size of the universe. Purport is the, oh my gosh, first purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one of the great astrologers of his time, gives information from the Siddhanta Shiromani that this universe measures have like 10, 12 numbers together. 18, It's difficult. Starting with 712. This is the circumference of the universe according to the sun. This is only half the circumference. If I'm not wrong, this universe has 6 billion half of kilometers. I think that's like this. Okay. Oh, this was the first purport on the sequence of the verse. I will finish here. If you can make a commentary.
Which text was this? 84? The last one you read?
84.
Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to ask about Tanmatushaka Maharaj. So he said either it's absolute truth or absolute lie. Do you know how does it go on? Like okay, that was his theory, but then how did it proceed from there? Did he find out that it's the absolute truth, or what is the story after this?
The point that only devotees can understand Krishna, can have a relationship with Krishna. For the mathematicians, for the logicians, for the people, academics, this is the maximum that can understand. Yes, this phrase, this sentence have a deep logic and not compromise the truth of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Or is the absolute liar, yes, because explained so deeply with so many details about God, but if God not exists, is an absolute liar, is a complete liar. But if God is there, if God will exist, this is the best explanation in all scriptures, more deep explanations in all scriptures, because the Krishna book is or the absolute truth or it's absolute life. Understand the logic can go at this point. If you want to can go beyond, what do you do? Bhaktimam abhijanati yamayastasita putaha. Okay? The academy and logicians, mathematicians, they can go only at this point. Maybe it's the absolute truth or the absolute lie. But if you want to real knowledge is, you need to make the process of Bhakti divided in 9 ways, like Pada Maharaj says in the 7th canto. You need to go deep in this process, like Krishna teaching Bhagavad Gita in Srimad Bhagavatam. Satisfied? A question?
I looked up, disconcerting means something that causes one to feel unsettled. So, and then
Understand?
and my question is, I was thinking in relation to your presentation, 2 verses from the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturveda Bhajantema and Tadvidi Pranipatena. My question is in relation to this and what you presented, because we see very often that, yes, in the outside world, everyone is bewildered and naturally very envious to Krishna. And they don't understand the conception of God. And sometimes when we preach, and even at the beginning stage when someone becomes a devotee, still this feeling is there that how can Krishna have so many wives? Or because it's one example. So this unconceivable or disconcerting aspect, it may still be there in, even if one starts devotional path for a very long time. And it's so subtle actually, these disconcerting aspects. In a very subtle way they remain in the heart. Then what is the status of such a person? Because although one may, I mean in the beginning one is very envious of Krishna, then a person takes to Krishna consciousness, but still some doubts may remain. And very often we see that sometimes even devotees, they have some complexity to understand Krishna. So how do we place such an individual?
You speak this large sentence for one that don't speak English. you begin with the Tadvipanjana. What is the connection?
One is Krishna says that an inquisitive person and a person who is seeking the absolute truth, he can know me.
The real, if you understand, the real person inquisitive, he can, by Krishna's mercy, approach to devotee. And Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jiva. When the merciful of a devotee only, because this Srimad Bhagavatam is so special, because only devotees, pure devotees, Mahajanas, are speaking in Srimad Bhagavatam. And by the mercy of Srimad Bhagavatam, by mercy of these great devotees, we can approach of Krishna. But only by jnana, if you understand that the word is temporary, if you understand that I'm not this body, I'm soul, and the bad thing, if I have a real knowledge means that I detach it of this world. Even this knowledge that is very, very high for this world, this is possible approach of Krishna with this knowledge. Only by the mercy of the devotees we can approach of Krishna. But this knowledge is the basis of bhakti. The all schools, Jnana, Yoga, and Bhakti, have the Sankhya process like the basis. That's because the first step is, I'm not this body, I'm spiritual soul. But Jnana go only at this point. Only Bhakti continues our education. What is education? Go prepare to buy to Padre Maior Dasa. The less education, the more elevated education, Raja Vidya Raja Gurya, is understanding that I, spiritual soul, I'm eternal servant of Krishna. Yes, have a continuation. Our acharyas so very hard with the Mayavadis and the Gyanis, because this is a very dangerous for nowadays. But when you read in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 12, verse 5, all this is a continuation. Yes, this is confirmed. Is a gradual movement, yes? Is a later, continuous in the step by step, beginning in karma, Nishkama karma, jnana, yoga, and finally a sincere yogi can get the phase of bhakti. But have all this is interconnected. If you understand your question. Oi!
Thank you very much. I had this question. You also mentioned that Krishna is only understood by the devotees, and Prabhupada also said that like the goal is to understand Krishna, but Brahma is a very nice devotee, much purer than
Yes,
us.
good question. Very nice, good question.
How And he say that he couldn't understand Krishna. How can we break this?
Lord Brahma is the first living being in the universe, and he is the master of the Vedas. He's the more higher Vedantist, or he is the more intelligent person on the universe. And he cannot understand Lord Krishna because it is impossible to understand Krishna. It's impossible. Krishna is infinite, he is unlimited. He is inconceivable for us. He's adoption, achintya, shakti. It's impossible to conceive your multiplier, your multiplied energies. But have one verse that Krishna explained your answer in Bhagavad Gita. Dadhami Buddhi Yogantam, for who practice the Bhakti Yoga process, Krishna give inside of your heart enlightenment with like a deepa, like a lamp. Krishna give enlightenment, and we can see, we can understand a little Krishna. The possible quantity to approach Krishna, for we stay very, very truthful in the process. We stay
convinced.
Yeah, convinced.
Fixed.
Seguro, confiante.
Confident.
Confident. Okay, confident. You can follow confidence in the process, yes? But understanding Krishna is impossible. And the dangerous is, I think Krishna is a common person, like the Buddhas, the Mayavadis, thinking that Krishna is a historical person. Yes, Krishna was a great king that realized Brahman, and after this he fused, merged on Brahman. This is a great offense to Krishna. Even when Lord Krishna and Indra think another thing about Krishna, what Krishna do? Krishna doing chastise days, yes? And because these devotees approach to Krishna with very, very humble, very, very humble. Krishna is Lord, and Krishna is unconceivable. This is the mood to approach of Krishna himself and devotees of Krishna. On this mood, and with the practice of Bhakti process, Krishna will reveal a little things to we keep advancing in the way of the process of devotional service. Siddham Buddhi Yogantam, Krishna give enlightenment. But if with my great brain, I'm very intelligent, I'm a great academicist, I'm great physics, I'm great mathematics, I will understand God. I will understand God, study these things of material nature. These people will go cheating for Krishna, for your external energy, for mind. Is the way to be a killing for Krishna. Okay. You're not satisfied. Shri Krishna ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Prabhupada Krishna ki Jai. Guru Bhaktivinoda ki Jai.
die Woche da. Was kommen wir mit?
Also ich meine, die Tage vor schon was da.
Meinst du?
Ja, die Woche.
Aha. Ja, ich bin sicher, dass es da ist gekriegt. Also das...
Wow, das weiß ich.
Genau.